Well, for more on that, Alex Hearn is the Director of Labour Against Anti-Semitism, and he joins me now. Alex, good to see you this afternoon. I'd like to start really by asking your reaction to what you heard from the Prime Minister last night.
It was positive to hear the speech, but it's 4 months too late. The Jewish community have been experiencing an explosion in hate crime, and there's been a rise in anti-Muslim attacks as well. Something needs to be done. We need clear heads and cooperation. And a speech after 4 months of this is just not good enough.
What sort of detail would you have expected him to put around, how he's operationalising this?
Policies, funding, stuff about prevent, policing, all kinds of things.
And you found that he came up wanting, did you, in that regard?
Yes, it just felt like a vague and woolly speech, which I agreed with, that we should all unite and extremism is a bad thing, etc., etc. But what is going to be done after 4 months of this?
Let's move on. Let's talk about Rochdale. The people of Rochdale have spoken. George Galloway is back. Your reaction?
Obviously, it's a dark day for many people. This is a unique situation, and it's dangerous to read too much into one by-election. Azia Ali's campaign was not dissimilar to George Galloway's, but in a race to the bottom, George Galloway will always win. And I think that the people of Rochdale have been massively let down across the board. It's a deprived area. Mr. Galloway does not have a good attendance record in Parliament from his previous stints as being MP. So what is he going to do for the people of Rochdale? It seems like local issues and UK issues were completely sidelined.
Well, some commentators say that actually local issues were very much part of his campaign. He was campaigning on the maternity ward in Rochdale and something to do with a Primark there as well. But I think they got overlooked because of all of the other headline-grabbing aspects to his campaign. Where do you think Labour bungled this mostly? Was it procedurally in terms of how long they kept their support going for their candidate before they then withdrew the support? Or is it really Sir Keir Starmer's articulated position on what is happening with Israel-Gaza?
No, I think this was a failure of vetting and a failure to pull the candidate earlier, and that actually, if that had been done in the correct way, I think that Labour would have won this election. It changed from a victory lap into a car crash.
But in terms of public attitudes towards what's happening in Israel and Gaza, I mean, tensions running pretty high. There's a lot of support, isn't there, for the Palestinians? And I'm just wondering how you think the Labour Party needs to position their stance on this. I mean, Sir Keir Starmer's got into hot water over comments that he has made, which he said had been misconstrued. But he has waded in, hasn't he, to his cost?
Labour or any other party must not appease hate and division. You cannot meet extremists halfway because of this result, which doesn't reflect on what's going on in the rest of the country and other elections. Also, this was the dominant issue for this election, and that's kind of unprecedented. Like I say, local issues were sidelined for the most part. And don't forget, Hamas are not going to surrender because of George Galloway and because of the people of Rochdale. Israel are not going to stop their war to remove Hamas because of George Galloway and the voters of Rochdale. This is something that cannot be affected by those people. Local issues, UK issues, should have been the dominant issue, but instead what got put front and centre was issues which cannot be affected.
OK, well, let's see what happens with the general election campaign, shall we? Alex Hearn, thank you very much for speaking to us.